Hello, my friends. I have finally done it. After more than a year of talking a big game and saying I was going to start a podcast, of doing the cover art, recording the introduction, interviewing production companies, I have finally done it. I put my money where my mouth is and I started a podcast. So, welcome to Unbottled Potential. This is a podcast about all things elective sobriety, personal growth, spiritual development. And in these episodes, I hope to give you some insight into how you can ditch alcohol and transform your life into something that is so miraculous that alcohol no longer has any significance in your life whatsoever. So, to do that in these episodes, I'm going to share a lot of personal stories. I'm going to share my coaching philosophy and background, and I'm going to do some Q&As. I'm going to share inspiring conversations with guests and friends of mine who are living an alcohol-free lifestyle, and maybe even some people who aren't. But the primary objective is to share my story, my clients' stories, and some interviews with people who are doing the dang thing alcohol free. So if you have found your way into my world, I want to say something that I hope really lands with you. I truly believe you are here for a reason. I do not believe that people are called to give up alcohol at random or it's just some goofy idea you get. I believe that if you have heard the whisper and had a desire to change your relationship with alcohol, that it is such an important endeavor for you to pursue. People do not hear that whisper at random. And if you've heard it, I'm here to give you a big permission slip to answer that whisper, because I know that if you don't, it will almost always become a very loud, unavoidable roar. And I don't want it to get to that point for you unless it has to. So I hope to be able to give you some tools to answer that whisper through this podcast. And today, I just wanted to jam a little bit and give you a brief introduction into my world so that you can get to know me and know a little bit about what I do, what I stand for, and how I show up in this world in case you are new, or if you are not new and you just want to hear my story again. I'm so grateful to have you here. Again, my name is Amanda Kuda. By trade, I am an alcohol-free life coach. That is an entirely made up title. I had to make up a title because it is an entirely new genre of life coaching. And it's what I'm doing. It best describes what I do. So let me break that down for you a little bit, how I got here and what that actually means. So I quit drinking personally on January 1st, 2017. It's a little over 5.5 years ago when I'm recording this. And I will tell you my whole story about going from a party girl to alcohol-free lifestyle expert in the next episode. But back in 2017, when I started this journey, there were not people doing this type of coaching, right? When it came to sobriety, the language that was being used was very much from the dominant recovery culture, which was recovery, addiction, those types of words. And those words did not resonate with me because I did not feel, nor did I qualify from any of the tests or quizzes or any of the assessments that you could take as being an alcoholic. I was just a normal, albeit kind of heavy social drinker, but I knew in my heart that my life would be tremendously different if I stopped drinking alcohol. And I had kind of started to peck around and look for some people to teach me how to do that. And at the time, there really wasn't anyone who was talking about sobriety that wasn't attaching it to the word recovery. And that really intimidated me. And I am so stubborn. So I really didn't want to pursue any of those outlets. I didn't want to join the groups, the coaching programs, do the one-on-one coaching. And I had a background at that point in time in business coaching. I had done business coaching consulting and teaching on a large platform at my first corporate job. I had been a teacher for 6 years. I taught public speaking in grad school. I'd also pursued a certification in holistic life coaching, thinking that I wanted to step into this spiritual and holistic form of coaching, but I had no idea what my niche would be. They tell you to pick a niche. And wouldn't you know it, my niche picked me. I stopped drinking in January 2017, and I really started to double down on my personal growth and spiritual development. And let me tell you, nothing compares to the level of growth that you can get when you have alcohol out of the way. Again, another story for another episode. But I started to create these toolboxes for myself that were a little different than what other people were talking about, and maybe not so different than what some people were talking about. For me, it worked. And I use a different language to describe my journey. I call my journey an alcohol-free journey, or I talk about giving up alcohol as elective sobriety because I did it as a choice. And that just wasn't the language that was being used. And so kind of shyly, I started sharing my journey on social media. And before too long, I had people starting to reach out to me and say, you know what? Me too. That's how I feel. That's what I want to do. How did you do it? Can we talk? Do you have a program? Can we do something? And so I put together a cute little program back in 2017 that I started selling. And it was all based in this personal development approach to understanding why you had such a tumultuous relationship with alcohol. Because I knew for me, it wasn't alcohol that was the problem. It was something that I was using alcohol to hide from that was the problem. And I needed to figure out what that is. I needed to figure out what I wanted my life to be. And I couldn't figure that out with alcohol in the way. So I started sharing this kind of different philosophy, this different approach. And slowly people started to come to me. So I started to take on group coaching. I started to take on clients. And before I knew it, I had a full blown coaching practice where I was guiding high achieving women who were sober curious, who were curious about changing their relationship with alcohol into ditching booze, breaking up with alcohol, and breaking through to their best lives. And it became this crazy, ironic kind of falling from the sky passion and desire of mine that I became so rooted in knowing that I am meant right now to awaken people to their fullest potential. And that's how this podcast got its name, Unbottled Potential. I am here to help you open up and express the deepest, truest, most authentic potential available in you. And I truly don't believe that that is available when you are constantly diluting yourself with alcohol. So today, what I do is I have a coaching practice where I help high achieving go-getters like you take a break from alcohol and really start to step into the reasons why they were drinking in the first place. I really help you unpack the mindset and the subconscious patterning behind your relationship with alcohol. Because here's the thing, like I said, it's not your relationship with alcohol that's getting in the way. It is all of the deep rooted mindsets that you have that cause you to believe you need or deserve alcohol to survive in this world. And once you get turned on to some of those things that are subconscious in your own mind, once you get turned on to them and also are allowed and given the tools to help you unpack them and find a better way, you can turn your life around in such miraculous ways. I have seen it happen in my own life and in so many of the lives of my clients. So in this podcast, I'll be sharing, not the specific episode, but throughout the episodes of this podcast, I'll be sharing some client stories that I can tell you I have seen some truly miraculous transformations in my work as a coach. I have seen women who have gone from looking like they had it all together, who were doing pretty well on the outside, but feeling really super lost and unfulfilled on the inside, to thriving and living a life beyond their wildest dreams. And that's what I want for you. So if you are picking up what I'm putting down here, I would love to have you back. I'm going to be doing several solo episodes, and then I'll start inviting some of my friends in to riff with me on different topics. And I would love to have you subscribe. That is how this podcast gets attention. So if you could hit that subscribe button, and when you feel comfortable, if you could rate and review the podcast, and if you just take a little screenshot before you submit the review and send it to me, DM me over on social media on Instagram at Amanda Kuda. That's Amanda Kuda. I'll put that in the show notes. I will give you something a little bit special. I have a little goodie that I set aside for you. So if you rate and review the podcast and DM me over on Instagram, I will bring it to you. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you were able to get to know me a little bit better as a coach and learn what I stand for. I would love to have you back here on Unbottled Potential. Look for episodes dropping every Tuesday. And as we get started, probably every Tuesday and Thursday, I'll be dropping solo episodes. And then as we get a little deeper in, I will start inviting some of my friends on to riff with me. And I hope that this is going to really just serve you in whatever way you need. I hope that this will give you permission slips, and this will give you insight, and this will give you reflections and affirmations that you are on the right path. This will give you tools and tips and tricks and inspiration to continue pursuing the sober curious journey you are on, no matter where you are at in the journey. So thank you so much for being here. As I said, please rate and review this podcast and send me a screenshot of your rating on Apple, and I will send you a little goodie. All right. Take care.